Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. I have to think again. Oh my goodness. Tuesday morning, just after 11 o'clock, and I have come on to give you an update on what's been going on since Friday. So I've got a fair bit to say. Hopefully I can keep it short, but you know me and talking. There's a lot of talking that comes out of my mouth. Anyway, so I'm showing you my Lottie because I thought I'd do something a bit different today. I thought I'd show you what she looks like in some jammies before I change her into what she's going to wear today. So let's have a look at her jammies first. These are the only elephant things I have. I'll show you. There's her pink jammy. There we go. Can you see the elephants, or have I sort of disguised them? You can sort of see them. Let me just pull her little top down a bit more. That might be better. Can you see them now? I might zoom in a bit if I can work out how to do that. Let's give that a go. Zoom in on those elephants. Seeing as this is her very one and only elephant outfit. There, can you see them there? Just under her chin, there's three. The third one you can't see. One, they're all embroidered on the pink top. One is pink with a grey ear, a light grey ear. One darker grey with a pink ear, and then there's another pink one who looks a bit bigger with a pink with a grey ear. So I think that might be the mummy and the daddy and the baby. I think so, because the third one's a bit smaller than the first two. So this is Lottie in her jammies. Let's zoom out again now. Seeing as I did that successfully, let's try going the other direction. A bit more so we don't chop her head off. There we go. So there she is. These are the jammies that she had on last night. They're made of organic cotton. Of course, what else would Lottie have? And they that was a joke, by the way. And there are little pants that are white, and they've got pink and white elephants on them. And they've got the feet in. And the top is kind of a brightish pink, a lolly kind of pink, and just with little frills around the cuffs. And then the three elephants on the front. So that's what she's wearing today, or what she wore last night. And what I'm going to change her into is an outfit that I've put together from two separate pieces that I really wanted to show Tracy, of Tracy's Baby World. Last week, on Theme Thursday, Tracy showed her beautiful baby Anna dressed in a two-piece outfit by Mebi. It's a beautiful blue knitted set. The top is just a beautiful blue knitted top with, I think it had a pattern on it, and then the pants that had the feet in, I think, were plain. So I said to Tracy that I would dress Lottie in something that I have that's sort of similar. Different but the same, if you know what I mean. So I'll show you what I've got to put on Lottie. And it's these little blue leggings. Now, Lottie, I'm just going to lay them on you, darling. I hope you don't mind. Okay? You'll be wearing them very soon to show everyone. Now, I don't know if you can see the feet. I'll just put them up like that so you can see. So they're the little blue leggings. They're just very plain. And they're by Mebi. I got them on sale. Both of these kids I got on sale, and that's why I bought them. And I didn't buy them at the same time, but I was hoping that the blue in the top that I'm about to show you would match the little leggings, and they do. Seeing as it's by the same company, I just kept my fingers crossed. So here's the little top, which is a long sleeve, cream coloured blouse. Now Lottie's just hiding a bit there, I hope you don't mind. That way you can see it a bit better. So it's a long sleeve, light cream coloured top. It's not quite white, 'cause you can see it's not as white as her little jammy pants. And it's covered in, now they're not exactly flowers, but they're more like maybe seed pods or leaves. And there's mustard in there, the blue that matches the leggings, and some muted beautiful greens with some leaves and things. It's abstract and beautiful, and there's a sort of a frill around the neck in the same fabric as the blouse. So that's what I'm going to dress her in a moment. But I thought Now I have a few things to catch you up on, so I thought before I change Lottie I'd tell you one thing, and that is when I was making my video last week to choose and announce the winner of my giveaway, who was Granny Cat, in case you haven't caught up with that news. There was some noise in the background, and I said to you, I hope it didn't disturb you. It was some gardeners who were new and I hadn't tried out before. Well, it was not a success, let me tell you. They worked very hard, but they were obviously very inexperienced. When they mowed the lawn, they left a ton of clippings all over the lawn. Some of the edges of the lawn were absolutely annihilated, and some were just ignored. They didn't know a weed from a plant, so I was pointing out what needed to be pulled out. And the weeds that I forgot to mention just stayed there. They didn't notice. They left a lot of mess for me to clean up because they didn't notice probably. And in some patches the grass is cut so low it's brown. Other bits is bright green. There's tufts of stuff that they missed all over the place and sections that they didn't really go over. So I won't be using them again. It was an experiment that failed. But the main thing is that they did do a lot of clearing, which is great. So the garden's tidy. Just needs a bit of, re-tidying. But they got a lot of the weeds cut down and pulled out, and it's sort of, they did they worked hard, let's put it that way. So I don't think I'll be using them again, but at least it was a trial, wasn't it? So that's that story. Now, just before I change Lottie, I just want to say that the builders are working very hard down the back in the house behind me. So you might hear other disturbances today. They're doing all sorts of drilling and cutting and who knows what. I think yesterday they were digging out a big hole for the swimming pool that's going to be put in there. So at least they're not using a digger today. I wasn't home much yesterday, so it didn't really bother me. And anyway, they can do what they want. It's okay. It doesn't bother me. So anyway, how about, that's one little story about Friday, and not a very happy ending. After they'd gone, I actually went out the front and I was crying. I was so disappointed. When you get your hopes up and you get excited, and I was thinking everything's going to look really tidy and lovely and neat and perfect, and well, it was far from it. And so I went out there and I had to sweep grass clippings off my paths and off where I parked my car, and I was just pulling up the weeds that I could, because I actually can't do that very well, so I was just pulling up the ones that I could get myself that were still there. And I think I was just so disappointed. I just thought, maybe I got my hopes up too much and I expected too much. But anyway, so that was Friday. So I'll change Lottie and then come and tell you about Saturday, Sunday and yesterday, Monday, because that was my talk to the nurses. So Lottie and I will be back in the blink of an eye. Here's Lottie all changed now. But now you wouldn't believe it. It's a beautiful day. I forgot to give you a weather report. And it's lovely outside. So I have the house all open, but now there are men next door doing major mowing and cleaning up. So I've shut a few windows and doors. I hope you can't hear them because they're quite close and very loud. And the builders have started up again down the back too. I'm so sorry about all of that. But anyway, Lottie and I are back, and now she's wearing the outfit that I showed you before with the blue leggings and the little top with the blue and green and what's that colour? What is that colour? I can only think of ochre, but that's not what I mean. Isn't that funny? You know that mustard, I think that's it, mustard colour. Abstract flowers and seed pods on her shirt with the ruffle collar, and she's holding her jelly cap mouth, and she's sort of looking at him and wondering why he's been kissing her cheek. But I don't think she minds too much. I think she's fairly satisfied with that bit of love from her mouth. Yeah, so okay. Let me think of the things that I forgot to tell you in my last little bit about Friday. One thing I did forget to tell you was that the gardeners forgot to mow the front verge, I don't know what you guys call it, the strip out the front of your house that actually the council owns, but all the house owners maintain it themselves. So they forgot to mow that, and when I was outside on Sunday, just getting ready to go off to my granddaughter's dance concert, a guy from down the street walked past with his son, and he said, "Oh, would you like me to mow this front verge for you?" And I couldn't believe it. He said, "I'm Mark from down at number 1. And so I said, "Oh, Mark, that would just be fantastic." They just completely forgot about it. I said the rest of the garden got done, but that got forgotten. So I said, "I have to go out now, so I won't be here when you do it, but I'll see it when I come home and appreciate it so much." So guess what? He did. He came down at some stage when I wasn't home and mowed that front verge and did the edges. So how kind is that? I mean, he lives a lot of houses away from me, maybe 10 houses away, something like that, on the other side of the road. So, I mean, that was a really, 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 really kind thing to do. So I'll probably go and drop in a present for him and his family, maybe over the weekend. So how about that? I thought that was really, really lovely. And also the fact that the boys forgot to mow up there is just indicative of their sort of lack of experience and that they didn't really know what they were doing. Anyway, so that's that bit of that story. Another bit of the story is, because that's Monday's story. Okay, let's talk about Saturday when I went out with my friends. It was wonderful, had the best time, and I realised it actually doesn't matter what we do, because it's really all about the talking, isn't it? It's all about the swapping of stories and experiences and opinions and ideas and all of that. So, we did shopping and we had lunch together, but really the fun part of anything we do is just being together and talking. We could be anywhere and do that, and it was a great day. I just really, really loved it. So that was Saturday. You're up to date with that now. And then came Sunday, which was my granddaughter's huge dance concert. She does... it's a very big dance school over on the south side near where my daughter lives, and my daughter and her family live, actually, I should say, really, because otherwise it sounds odd, doesn't it? And it's run by 3 women who are actually sisters, and it's a very large dance school, and my little granddaughter, who's just turned 8, does musical theatre and jazz. I think they're the 2 things she does, and she was in 4 numbers, and the whole thing was incredible. The music was loud, but it was manageable. I could sort of feel it. When it gets so loud, you feel it beating in your chest. Have you ever had that feeling? I once won tickets to go and see Elton John a long, long, long time ago, and went with a friend, and that was the loudest music I'd ever heard. He was obviously playing the piano, and I can't remember if I suppose there were other instruments on the stage, but it was so loud and I felt that in my chest. Now this wasn't as loud, but I still felt it there. It was so, amazing, but fabulous. The dancing, I really loved the dancing. It was all very strong kind of dancing, fast moves, and a lot of things with this will sound strange. I hope you'll be able to sort of picture it. But things with the children had their fists clenched and sort of raised up a bit, and it was like it was strong. Everything was strong, and I really liked that because, of course, most of the dancers were girls, and so instead of depicting, delicate, dainty girls, the dancers were. I don't want to make it sound wrong, but because my description is just not very good. But the moves were strong, they were quick and wonderful. Just fabulous. And they were all ages. So they were actually towards the end a group of women who've been learning tap, who were around between 60 and 70. I think there were 6 of them. They came out and did a dance, and that was unreal. That was fabulous. Everybody loved them. They had just like ordinary black sort of pants on and black shirts, and then they had their tap shoes on, and they put some glowing little lights around the tap shoes, and one of the numbers that they did, they were sitting on chairs and the lights were off and they were just moving their feet, and they looked really good with the red little lights all around their shoes. So that was fun. So they were all ages, from little to bigger, and it was a huge variety of stuff, something they call lyrical dancing, which I didn't know what it was, because I grew up in the time where you did basically there was classical ballet, there was jazz and tap, but lyrical is sort of in between. It's done to kind of ballad type music, but modern story music and slower kind of dancing, and that was gorgeous. That was more in the second half. So there was all real mixture of things. There was, girls in tutus. The costumes were amazing. There was one that, that song that goes, "Girls just want to have fun." You know that one. I don't want to sing it because, oh my goodness, you would never come back and watch another video if you heard me sing. But hopefully you know that song, "Girls just want to have fun." Well, they changed it to "Bugs just want to have fun," and all the children, they were young children, like 7 and 8. They were all dressed in different bug costumes. So there were ladybirds and frogs, and not that a frog's a bug, but you know what I mean, and spiders and all sorts. It was just fantastic. And they danced to that song, "Girls Just Want to Have Fun," except they were bugs. So that was, it was really good fun, and it was all age appropriate. There was nothing tarty, nothing too short, no high cut stuff, because I really don't like that. I really don't like that. It was all, everyone had proper little short things on, like shorts under there, like bike shorts, but short ones under whatever they were wearing. So it was really good. I thought it was really, it wasn't, what's the word? I mean, it was all appropriate and it was all good, and I loved it. I had a brilliant time, absolutely brilliant time. I got home pretty late, like, I don't know, late for a Sunday night. I think it was sort of 11ish, but just because we all went in one car, so then I had to go back to my other daughter's and then drive home from there as well, because the tunnel that leads over to the south side, because I live on the north side of Sydney, and the tunnel that I always use to get to my younger daughter's family has been closed at night, both directions, while they're doing something to it. And they advertise that it closes at 11. Well, it doesn't. That's just a trick for young players. It seems they start closing it at least an hour beforehand, and I've been caught out. And so the time that I got caught out, whenever that was, I had to drive through the city, and so did everybody else who normally uses the tunnel. So that was just, took a long time. It was fun though, but it's dark and late, and so that's why we all went in one car, and I left from my other daughter's house, so I only had to drive home from her place. She lives in the inner west, so I didn't have any tunnels that would be closed ahead of me there. Although there were roadworks, it seems that when most of us are sleeping is when a lot of roadworks get done just as well, because Sydney's traffic is a nightmare. Whoa, did you hear that? I suppose you did, but I've just gone off onto a huge tangent about nothing that isn't relevant. So let's say I've told you now about Sunday. So I've done Friday, the gardeners, Saturday, my art outing, Sunday, the dance concert. Hopefully I've told you enough about all those things. And then that brings us to yesterday, which was the talk with the nurses. Now that wasn't until the afternoon. So I used the morning to catch up on jobs and write a few replies to my comments. I've almost caught up. I think I've only got one more video to do, which I'll try and do while this is uploading, because you know my rule that I have broken a couple of times, where I don't allow myself to make a new video until I've replied to my other comments. So hopefully I'll be able to do that while this is uploading. So okay, so that brought us to Jen coming to pick me up, and we drove to the local private hospital, which is 10 minutes away or something like that. It's not far at all. It's just in the next suburb next door. And we went there and we parked and we sat in the car for a little bit, because we deliberately went a wee bit early. And I just went over what I was going to say, and Jen added what she thought I should say, and I said, no, I don't want you to tell me, because then I'll have your words in my head and they won't be my own words, and blah, blah, blah. So it was just me in the end saying what I was going to say, just roughly, because, I know it all. It's what happened to me, so I know what I want to say. I don't need to have anything written down. Anyway, then we went in, and we just went into a conference room, which you wouldn't even know was there, but is just near the back entrance. And we went in there and sat down, and what's she called? The clinical director, I think that's what she's called. No, something like that. Anyway, you guys would know what she is. She doesn't wear a nurse's uniform, but she is a nurse, but she runs the day-to-day things of the hospital, so she works out everything and policies and all that kind of stuff. So, and her name is Paula, and she's lovely. Jen and I have met her, I think, 3 times so far, and she feels like a friend. She feels very similar to how we are, so that was very nice. And the fact that she was interested to having me come and talk, I knew that she wasn't defensive. She really wants to make changes. She wants her hospital to be better. So all of that's very encouraging. So we went in and sat down, and Paula introduced me, and then I started talking, and it was very good. They all just listened to me. Some of them cringed a wee bit, not that they were necessarily the ones who did some of the things that I was talking about, but they just cringed hearing, the truth of what had gone on, because I was there for 2.5 weeks, so it's a fair bit of time, isn't it, in hospital? And that was after spending, I think, 10 days in the acute care hospital before that. So yeah, they listened to everything. They listened respectfully. No one really said anything. They looked at me. I got to say everything I wanted to say, and then Paula did kind of a summary and added a few things that she would like to see change procedurally, not necessarily the culture, but she wants, because they have these handover discussions that are meant to include the patient, but they tend not to. They seem to be outside your door. I could hear what they were saying, but they didn't do it in front of me. So Paula has been trying to get that changed for years, but the nurses just don't seem to want to. Anyway, so Paula said a few things about that kind of procedural thing and thanked me, and it was great. I think I probably talked for about, maybe it was half an hour in the end, and really I'd said everything I had to say. I would have just been repeating myself after that. So it was really good. I wasn't nervous because, me and talking. So I wasn't nervous, and I just felt happy to be doing it, really, and happy afterwards. It went really well. Jen reckons it went really well too. I asked her if I repeated anything, and she said I didn't. And it was really comfortable. It wasn't hard at all. And what I really hope now is that they'll think about what I've said, and I'm sure Paula will remind them of things. And I hope that their attitudes will change, that they will respect their patients and not be judgmental and, think that, because they thought I was there just malingering. They couldn't understand the pain I was in, even though I was on like fistfuls of this stuff, painkillers, all sorts of different ones. Through the day, it was just, oh my goodness, it was constant. I had to be on painkillers all the time. And I'm a person who doesn't take much stuff. Because I don't like it, and I just, I don't want to get into all of that. Anyway, I talked about their lack of comprehension about my situation, and that they were nurses, and that I thought that they would understand, and that I had been looking forward to being there to be able to have a rest and get better, whereas all I did was try to keep out of their way. I got very tired the whole time I was there. I was walking up and down in the street, and in that part of Sydney, it's a very special suburb that was designed by a guy called Sir Walter Burley Griffin, and there aren't footpaths everywhere. There are very interesting houses. It was designed in about the 1940s and 50s, I think, and it's kind of like a little enclave, a little separate area. There are all sorts of interesting windy streets called things like the Battlement and the rampart and all sorts of things. So it's not just a normal grid laid out type of suburb. So there's not many places I could walk, but I did. I went out and walked up and down, back and forth. I couldn't even go around the block because it was just too slopey and stuff. But anyway, I was really tired by the end when I came home, just from not being able to rest, just trying to keep out of the nurse's way so they didn't ask me why I was there, when I was going, why I needed help. And I think part of the problem was just my independence, because I don't like people to do things for me. I think most people are like that. I really don't like it. I like to, if I need help, I'll ask for it. Otherwise, I'll just do something on my own. Anyway, so I think because I could do most things by myself, they didn't understand the trouble I had with certain things and that I was in pain. And I think if I would have been a complaining, moaning, crying person, they would have been able to take care of me better. I think I confused them a bit, and so that's partly my fault by not understanding that they needed to know that I was independent, although to me they could see that. But anyway, I mean, it's complicated and it's deep, and I'm glad to have spoken to them. And I did explain to them that I'm not damaged psychologically. I don't need any counselling or help or anything like that. I just don't want things like that to happen to someone who's vulnerable, to be treated badly the way I was. I'm lucky in that I have a lot of people who love me and a beautiful family and all of that. So, I feel good about myself. I don't need outside people to say I'm great or anything like that. I hope you know what I'm trying to say, because I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so overall it went really, really well, and I hope that by me talking to them that some changes will happen in the hospital, and that other people who stay there from now on will get better treatment than I did. That's really all I want. And do you know what? I've been the same ever since I can remember. I've always wanted things to be better for other people. I'm okay, and I want everybody to be okay. I don't like people to be vulnerable, hurt, taken advantage of. I really, and I never have. I can remember writing essays about it as a teenager in high school. And just trying to make the sense of the world like you do when you're a teenager. Anyway, okay, let's get off all that philosophical stuff, because this is a Reborn channel after all, and you have been looking at my darling little girl, and I'm really happy with this outfit. I hope you like it too, Tracy. It goes really well together, doesn't it? The blues are just right, and it's the leggings they're a pale blue, but they're almost like a slash between a pale blue and a dusky blue. They're not just a plain baby pale blue colour. And the same with the blues on her shirt. Now, did I say before that it was long sleeved and it has ruffles around the wrists? I don't know if I did, but it does. It's just the same fabric, it's just ruffled on the edges and elasticated. Maybe that's the bit I left out. So I think that's brought you up to date. I think we're up to date now. I hope we are. Yes, I think we are. Okay, so what I'll do right now is I'll say goodbye to you all, and I hope that you're all okay, and that Christmas doesn't feel too like, what's the word? Too busy, too big to get organised. You know how it's weird, but all of a sudden you think, oh, I have to get all this done. And we do have a lot of extra stuff to do, don't we, before Christmas comes. And I try not to let that pressure get to me, because I just want to enjoy Christmas, and I spend a lot of my Christmas thinking about other people who aren't as lucky as some, and I do worry about those people, because not everyone has a happy family. And no matter what things look like on the outside, it may not be true. Things are always different to what we know. And I know there are a lot of lonely people out there who maybe have difficult family histories, or who may be completely alone in their life. And my heart really I like to not like to, but I do think about those people a lot more than I think about the happy, jolly people, because we're okay. You know, we're okay. We don't need anything. We've got our love and our families, but there are lots of people who need much more than we have, not in material things, but in the basic things that humans need, which the most basic of all is love. Anyway, I did get philosophical again. Goodness me, is that what Christmas is doing to me? I'm sorry, everybody, but I hope you've liked seeing my Lottie, and I hope you've been able to last till the very end. You poor people, I hope you had a couple with you. And so let's say goodbye to each other, and I'll be back soon for Theme Thursday probably. So everyone, till we meet again, take care and be kind to each other. Bye bye.